She uses clay to create many different forms, from whimsical, unsettling sculptures to 3D landscapes to striking art tiles. Always pushing the medium's boundaries, today's guest loves working with clay, glaze, and fire to shape new ideas. Stay with us to learn more about the creations of ceramist Catherine Wiesener.
Hi, welcome to Art Now, a program where we talk to artists whose work is part of our community. I'm Pat Sammann, and I'll be your host. Our guest today is ceramist Catherine Wiesener. Catherine has a BFA in ceramic sculpture from the University of Cincinnati and an MFA in sculpture from the University of Illinois. She is presently teaching at the U of I, where she frequently has been ranked as an outstanding instructor. Her work has been exhibited nationally, especially in the Midwest and South, and her ongoing projects include sculptural objects, functional ceramics, art tiles, and handmade porcelain light fixtures. Catherine, thanks for being with us today. I'd like to start by talking about what inspired you to be an artist. I know that your father was a professional artist most of his life.
Mm-hmm. So my father's been an artist his whole life, and so I say we grew up kind of art brats. We moved around a lot to be closer to his galleries. We spent like many weekends traveling to his art shows, and he would put all of his work in the back of a van and put a mattress on top, and that's how we traveled. And so I was exposed to a lot of art at a very early age.
Yeah.
So.
Great. You've also said the other factor that kind of pushed you toward art was the fact that you spent long evenings working with a friend in your childhood making books and drawings.
Mm-hmm.
Want to say about it more?
Yeah, so I wanted to mention her because I think she's one of the most creative people I've ever met, and I consider her kind of my first studio mate in that she pushed me and challenged me to be more creative, to be a better artist, and we did spend like 8-hour sessions or more every time we got together drawing and making things. So I just wanted to give her credit because I think some credit is due.
That's great. Now, early in your studies, you did bronze casting and painting as well as ceramics. What is it about the medium of clay that attracts you?
Well, I tried not to be a ceramic artist. I didn't want to be like my dad. So I tried anthropology and then migrated towards art, and then I tried painting and printmaking, and I just kept on integrating those into ceramics. And even when I came to grad school, I thought, oh, glass is going to be my thing, glass casting. So I really wanted to find another material other than ceramics, but I just kept on trying to integrate those into clay. And so I think it was a comfortable material, but it's also a material that you can never get bored of. There's just so much to it, and it's always humbling. There's the chemistry side to the glazing, there's the firing, making your clay, making your glazes, and I think that it plays an equal role in helping me make my work. So I've tried the route of drawing and thinking in an attempt to make work, and that never works. And all of my pieces come from working, and then the clay inspires me to try something new with the next piece. And so I think it's kind of interesting to see that every piece I've ever made in 20 years is kind of all linked together, and one kind of inspiring the next.
Yeah.
So I like it because it's an equal partner in a way.
Yeah, that's great. Well, look, we're going to start out looking at some of your pieces. These first ones we're going to look at focus on society's relationship to animals. They kind of contrast the idealized portrayals of animals we often get in media with the fact that we also eat or kill many of the same animals. It also kind of reflects your fascination with ornate decoration and what that says about us. So would you like to speak a little bit about that first?
Sure. We're going to see the Friends, Foes, or Food series. And so in a way that kind of describes the whole series as classifying animals into different groups. And once they're classified into that group, how we treat them and how we treat them differently, and how we anthropomorphize them to make them more like us or less like us in the case if we want to eat them or kill them, and then how we dress them up for that purpose. Right. And so this whole series is kind of fun, and it's an exploration of new techniques as well.
Okay.
So,
yeah, if you want to say anything about those while we go through, feel free.
Some of these were cut on a bandsaw, and so they're kind of crazy techniques.
That's great. Okay, this first one is a civilized meal. And I do like that frill all the way around. This one is a civilized meal too. And those are heads, for those in the audience who may not be able to see it, those are heads of pigs, ducks, so on each of those. Then we have Beast Feast. It almost looks like something out of Dr. Seuss. Furry Formation is this one. I really like that with the polar bears. Layer Cake, which is kind of related to that first one. And then we have Exhibit in Excess. Anything you'd like to say about the techniques, or?
Yeah, I was experimenting with a lot of new techniques as far as like, using a bandsaw, dipping clay into porcelain slip and squeezing out porcelain slip. But I also wanted to mention that in a way, I think in some cases the animals have almost anthropomorphized themselves to kind of make themselves presentable to the humans. So in a kind of reversal.
Right, right. Okay, these next pieces focus on birds, and this first one is hybrid. And it's kind of, in a way, obvious because you've got the hybrid of the feathers plus the ceramics. Do you want to say any more about that?
No, you can scroll through this series.
Okay. And then the next one is Warbler, and then we have Cake Stand. And then the last one, which is one you did with your, in collaboration with your father, is Bird in Hand. So do you want to talk a little bit about the birds first, and then we can talk about collaboration and how that works?
So with hybrid, it was using porcelain because it is a bone-like material kind of on the exterior. And also the technique was allowing me almost to build ship-in-a-bottle type things. So by squeezing out the porcelain clay slip, the paper in the porcelain wicks the moisture through, and that allows you to join two pieces together when they're dry, which you otherwise couldn't do if the clay doesn't have the paper in it. Right. So when I was experimenting with this kind of ship-in-the-bottle technique, it just, birds in a cage was kind of the first thing that I wanted to play around with, and that series evolved from there. Right.
Okay, and then as we said, this last piece is one that you did as a collaboration with your dad. Now he's down in Maysville, Kentucky. So how do you collaborate?
So I have to say I'm really proud of my dad because he's really adapted to new technology in his mid-70s. So he texts me scale drawings of what he's making, and he's always done scale drawings of everything he's ever made, and I make the pieces and parts and I ship them to him, and I have some creative license with color or shape or form, and then he assembles it. So we haven't actually done it in reverse, but for our show in the fall, I'll actually design something and send a scale drawing to him for him to send me pieces and parts. And so we'll have a couple pieces that are collaborative like that.
That's great. Okay, this next group of work is, you're turning to the familiar landscapes of Central Illinois. I don't know if this was particularly Central Illinois, but it's similar to what you see around here. This first one is Midwestern, and this next one is Sprawl. Anything you'd like to say about those?
So again, this is the clay being an equal partner. I was playing with a technique where I pour out colored slip, and I was basing the colors on photographs that I had taken. And the photographs were landscapes, and I would color the slip and stack it up. And then after I'd stacked it up, I would roll it out, allowing it to morph and change and kind of blend together a little bit. And then I would cut those up. And I really wanted to make panoramic images. I was kind of inspired by Art Sensaba's panoramic images at the time. Really fascinated by those.
Yeah. Okay, in these next landscapes, the clay's more rippled and extruded, and we'll look at these two, and then maybe you can talk a little bit about how you achieve that effect. So this first one is called Division, and this next one is called What's Not There. I like that title.
So in Division, you can actually see my process. You can see the change between the stacked up slip and the rolled out clay and how they come together. And in What's Not There, I didn't roll the slip out. I just assembled it within the frame, and the frame of the landscape kind of posed within a structure, a man-made structure.
Right. Okay, that rippled effect is also going to be seen in these next two pieces, which are part of what you're calling a portal series. This first one is Cozumel. I want to give us a minute or two so people can see it. And then Kentucky. I'm just curious, how did you happen upon doing the portal?
Well, that's an interesting question. I was trying to make cake stands, and the tops, because I was trying to make them so big, they would always warp. They wouldn't stay perfectly flat in the kiln. So I decided I'm just going to throw the rim and first, and then I'll attach it to a base. But once I started to throw the rims, I couldn't stop making them more and more and more intricate until they looked like frames. And then I wanted to use them to make three-dimensional landscapes. And this series I'm really interested in because it's going to be in the show in the fall with my father. And the title of the show, Portals, kind of refers to something I noticed about both of our work, using the circular cutout or the circle as kind of a part of the work that's for meditation or like a focal point, and we're both using that in wildly different ways, but it kind of unites our work together for this show.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to move on to look at things that are other than sculptural pieces. You also make art tiles, and we're going to look at a few examples of this. This first one is the Hell House fireplace. Anything you'd like to say about it? Or?
Yeah, this person gave me kind of a blank slate to create this fireplace, and I was really excited about this. It was a craftsman house that had been converted into 6 apartments with kitchens on the 3rd floor, and it went back to a single family home, and they wanted this fireplace to be the focal point. So there are 2 tiles that have fire in them to represent the nickname that it got in that whole renovation process.
Okay, this next one is Mark's Kitchen, and again I see the fire theme coming through there. I'm just curious, is that that's above a stove?
It is.
Yeah, that works very well.
Very nice stove.
Okay, and then we've got the cinema gallery. And one of my questions was going to be, when you do make tiles such as this, when they're made to order, how do you work with the client to develop the concept?
Well, first is just visiting with them, seeing their house, if it's supposed to go in a house, maybe looking at the style of the house, looking at the style of the person that lives there, and then I just draw and present a concept, and they have a lot of faith in me and allow me to do it.
That's great.
So, yeah, it's a lot of fun to work with an individual.
Yeah. Okay, the next piece we're going to look at is one that you made just this week, and actually we not only have a picture of it, but we have it here in front of us, if you'd like to just show it, and show that it's a couple pieces there.
Sure, can you see this? So this is just, I sometimes like to make functional work, and it goes back to the clay can be so humbling. And making functional work is actually a lot harder than making a sculpture. It has to be food safe. You can't have any imperfections, and if you have them, you can't really hide them. So I like to go back to functional work every now and then just to hone my skills. So, and like I said, I make everything 3 or 4 times. This is in a few incarnations, and this will be in the cinema gallery show.
Right, I was going to mention, you said that that's going to be entitled Use It. Can you just kind of give the basic theme in the show?
Sure, it's a functional show, strictly functional, invite-only show that's traveling from cinema gallery to another gallery after that.
Oh,
I don't
great.
remember which one it is, but so it'll be on display for a while.
Okay, very good. And that's going to be coming up in
July.
July.
June
Okay.
and July.
Okay, very good. Another thing that you've started doing is lighting fixtures, and I know you don't have a complete one here, but you were going to show us some of the,
Yeah, I think
parts that you've put together already.
Yeah, so you'll have to use your imagination. These arose out of having to move my studio inside for the winter, and what could I do on my dining room table that didn't require a lot of tools. But it does relate to some of the other work in a way. Currently I'm having the metal parts fabricated, so they'll be in the round, and there'll be pendant light fixtures, so I'll just hold one up. It sounds scary, but so this is, if you can imagine in the round, a version of one.
And you said it's going to have a copper pipe coming out?
Yeah, so it'll be a single pendant light hanging down, hardwired. And this is another one. So if you can imagine.
I think they're going to be really unique when they're done.
Yeah, they're not wind chimes. And then I have a few more, but this is kind of a slightly different one, if you can kind of imagine.
Yeah, that'll be beautiful when it has a light in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll have those finished by this fall.
That'd be great. Are you doing this for anyone in particular, or are you just...
No.
Okay. Just decided to do it for fun. Okay. Now, besides creating your own work, you've also been teaching at the University of Illinois for some time, and your students obviously have enjoyed working with you since they've voted you outstanding. What do you like most about teaching?
I would say I like getting to know the students, most of them anyway, and I like getting better. I like re-strategizing, redeveloping my assignments, and kind of finding better ways to teach the methods and techniques that they need to know. And it's exciting when they're proud of what they've made, so
Sure.
I like that part.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, well, I thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you for
I
having me.
enjoyed it. I'd like to say that our guest today has been ceramist Catherine Wiesener. You can see her work locally at the Cinema Gallery in downtown Urbana and on her website at wiesenerstudios.com. Also this fall, Catherine and her father will be doing a joint show called Portals, The Space Within at Gallery Janjobi in Louisville, Kentucky. We hope you've enjoyed today's show, and we also hope it will inspire you to explore the local art scene and to make your own art now.